me, Ralph.
You're welcome. Thanks, Mike.
Ralph, let's begin by explaining who has the biggest interest in closing the doors to the courtroom for American consumers injured by defective products, or they've been defrauded by Wall Street, or their quality of life has been decimated because of pollution. Who has the biggest interest in closing the doors to the courthouse?
Well, the wrongdoers, the people who sell you defective cars, harmful medicines, fill the air and water with toxic chemicals, endanger you in the workplace. And behind those wrongdoers are some of the biggest corporations, like General Motors and VW and Pfizer and others. Behind them are the insurance companies who don't want to pay out claims, who hasn't had an experience with that. So if this juggernaut of wrongdoers backed by their insurers who want to keep you from getting justice when someone injures you, or next of kin, you lose a loved one, and they don't want to disclose the information, which a lawsuit does, so that everyone knows it's a defective product that needs to be recalled or blocked. Or they don't want to be deterred, have to change their industrial or marketing practices. So this is as Eric Foner, the great American historian, has said on the opening day of the American Museum of Tort Law in Winston, Connecticut, tort law is the weapon of the weak.
Yeah, by the way, I've been following your museum in Connecticut. What an incredible idea. Hey, I say that, Mr. Nader, because typically corporate media doesn't tell the stories behind what it's taken to make safe products in this country. They don't talk about the cases that you've handled over the years and have a big impact in this country as far as making products safer. But your museum, I think it's extremely interesting, is now focusing on that. People ought to know about this. Tell us about it.
Well, it's a major liberation movement in America, back coming from medieval England, where someone wronged someone else and there was no court, no trial by jury, so they went to revenge cycles. So they set up these courts and trial by jury. We took it in the young republic in our country, and we took it to the highest level in the world. We have the best law of wrongful injury in the world, which is why the corporations want to destroy it. Well, one injury at a time. They want to block the courtroom door. They want to get rid of jury trials. They want to get rid of class actions where consumers can band together as a class that's been harmed individually to get justice, and get deterrence, to get disclosure, to get the government to issue safety standards that are long overdue, to get those politicians in Washington and elsewhere to be sensitive to the millions of people who are wrongfully injured.
Mr. Nader, the myths that have been created by organizations like the U.S. Chamber of Commerce in regard to issues like punitive damages, or issues like the idea that jury awards are affecting the economy, or we also hear that the system is a lottery. How do you respond to that after the many years that you have been out there fighting for American consumers? How do you respond to that?
First, there aren't enough lawsuits, because it's very hard to win a lawsuit against a giant company like Ford or ExxonMobil, because it has to go through all kinds of hoops. You've got to get a lawyer, you've got to go to court, you're going to be opposed by corporate lawyers who have endless resources, you've got to convince the judge, you've got to convince the jury. If you don't convince one jury in some states, the bad guys win. And this is very, very difficult. And it's all open. Anybody can walk into a courtroom. The press is there. If you appeal, the same thing. It's the most refereed process of all the three branches of government, where, they cut deals and legislators behind closed doors, or the executive branch bureaucracy, you can't figure it out. But the court of law is the people's key to justice. And if we don't realize that we're underutilizing the law of torts, the law of wrongful injury, just a few months ago, Johns Hopkins University Medical School, the doctors put out a report saying that 5,000 people a week die in preventable situations in hospitals, hospital-induced infections, malpractice, etc. That's 5,000 Americans a week, and only a tiny number of them ever get any justice or compensation. So anybody who tells you we are a litigious society It is true when it comes to corporations, suing corporations on patents and other things, but we are grossly underutilizing this great system of justice and trial by jury. And the more we utilize it, the less Medicare has to pay, the less social programs have to pay. You make the wrongdoer pay, and you make the wrongdoer change the practices, so they don't have to keep paying again and again.
Mr. Nader, there are attorneys all over this country like me who decided to do what we do because of your work. I want to be very frank with you. Had it not been for the work that you did and we could see the good that you accomplished, there's many lawyers that would have said, this is not the place for me. You're one of the reasons I chose to do what I do, and there are many, many lawyers throughout this country. I know this is a broad question, but I want to ask you, one of the most important things that you think you've accomplished over these years is America's best consumer advocate by far. What sticks with you the most?
Well, health and safety standards are much improved, all the way from the coal mines to the highways to the hospitals, because lawsuits disclosed all this wrongdoing, all this negligence, sometimes corporate crime, and the regulators or Congress issued safety standards, recalled millions of products. We know that. We see that in the media. And so just in the auto area alone, according to the Center for Auto Safety, Clarence Ditlow is the director, is an engineer and lawyer. He estimated earlier this year 3.5 million prevented deaths in this country due to the motor vehicle and highway safety laws that were passed in Congress, signed by Lyndon Johnson in 1966. And a lot of that wouldn't have happened without litigation taking the lead and disclosing how the tire companies didn't adequately test their tires. And that information was brought to Senator Nelson in the U.S. Senate. He put in a tire safety bill, which became law. So if we don't keep those courtroom doors open, if we don't learn about this great liberation movement, if we don't protect the precious right of trial by jury, we're going to have a more hazardous society, and more people are going to lose their lives and get injured and get sick. And that's true for the environmental area, for the marketplace of products, also true for the workplace. So that's why we opened the American Museum of Tort Law. If you go to tortmuseum.org, you'll see what a great experience it is, and we want to have touring exhibits all over the country and be able to stream out of a proposed courtroom we want to build for that purpose, all kinds of activities that tell you how you can make your life and the life of your family safer, more secure, more just, by using the law of torts, which comes down from our founding fathers.